Okay, so I'm looking at yours, and there's a couple things. So como you got right. So como means how. Sometimes it can mean what. It mostly means how. We only use it to mean what when we're asking what's your name. But literally that's how do you call yourself. So I think of como more as how. Cuando means when. De donde is where. Like from where are you, from where is something. You're asking the origin of something. De qué is of what, por qué is why, and quién is who. So in this activity, you've just met a woman named Susan at a party and you're trying to get to know her. Based on her answers, you complete each question with the most appropriate interrogative word. You're fine with por qué. The problem that you have there is that you're not supposed to have, I don't know how you got that there, but you're not supposed to have a diéresis over the U. It's an accent over the K. It should look like this. Wait, right here, por qué. So you just spelled that one wrong, okay? ¿De dónde eres? Fine. Here, son tus amigos aquí, Elena, Ana, y Pablo son estudiantes también. I don't think they want you to use the same question word twice. And so you already said, why are you here in Madrid? Because I'm a Spanish student. And also, usually if you have the question, like this one is giving you, you're filling in a question word, so it's already giving you the answer. If the answer is because, the question word is usually why. Why? Because. Okay? So this is asking who. Who are your friends here? Okay? So you would use quiénes. This one right here. ¿Quiénes son tus amigos aquí? Who are your friends here? And remember when you looked in the book, quién is who, and quiénes is also who. You use quién when you expect to get a one-person answer, like who is your Spanish teacher? ¿Quién es tu profesor de español? Right? But if you wanted to know who are your professors this semester, ¿quiénes son tus profesores este semestre? You'd have to use the plural. So use quiénes, the plural, when you want someone, when you're trying to identify multiple people instead of just one. Okay, so this would be, who are your friends here? Elena, Ana, Pablo. Those are my friends. They're students too. Okay, blank ciudad eres, soy de. You're saying you're from Chicago. So what you're asking here would be, oh, I lost my spot. So here you would say, from what city are you? De qué? From what? It could have been de donde eres, but that would be without the ciudad. If you have the ciudad, you're saying, from what city are you? And then here, nos vemos tú y yo otra vez. Bueno, mañana tengo unos minutos por la tarde. So you're saying she's giving her schedule. So he wants to know when. When are you and I going to see each other again? So it should be cuando here. And so you see these little call outs. They also give you the answer. So you might want to be checking there just to see what the answer is and then work backwards and see if you can figure out why the answer is what it is. Okay, so for the next activity, you've got to know the difference between que and cual. Both que and cual may be translated as to mean what or which, but they're not interchangeable. So you usually use que when you're trying to request a definition or an explanation, and it can be followed by a noun. So for example, when you have clase tienes ahora, you're asking what class do you have right now. Even though you could say, you know, which class do you have right now, you have to use que because this is a noun that's immediately following your question word. So in Spanish, they'll never put cual and then immediately have a noun. So if you're trying to decide between que and cual and you have a blank and you see a noun, like a person, place, thing, you're going to have to use que. Whereas here's a choice, which do you prefer? And since it's a verb, you would choose cual. So most of the time when it's which, you're going to want to choose cual. But if you have a noun immediately following your question word, you have to use que. For example, ¿cuál es la fecha de hoy? What is today's date? But I could also say, ¿qué fecha es hoy? And when I put it that way, when I put fecha first, I have to use que because fecha is a noun. So cual implies a choice, and it's not followed by a noun. And then there's a plural form of cual. So if I'm asking, like, which classes do you have this semester? If I know you're going to give me a more than one answer because you're taking more than one class, I'd say, ¿cuáles, or maybe, which, so maybe tú tienes muchas clases este semestre, ¿cuáles son? So you have a lot of classes this semester, which are they? So if I'm wanting you to identify and give me a more than one word answer as to which is your favorite or which you prefer or which you're taking, then you have to do cuáles. So like here, ¿cuáles son los meses del año? I have to use cuáles because you're going to give me more than 1 month. Whereas here, which do you prefer? I want you to give me one. Which out of all of these classes do you prefer? Okay. So then, okay, so in this activity, blank de los estudiantes is Pablo. You're saying which of these students is Pablo? You're making a choice. So most of the time when you're making a choice, which out of all of these students is Pablo, you're going to use cuál. The only time you're going to use que is if this word right here had been a noun. This is not a noun, so we would pick cuál. Cuál. Okay? This one you're doing okay. Here, blank is a libro de español. Which is the Spanish book? You're asking, like, out of all of these books, which one is the Spanish book? Because it's one, you can't make it plural. If it had been, which of these are your books? And you're going to give me more than one. ¿Cuáles de estos libros son los tuyos? Then you can use cuáles. But because you're trying to identify one thing, which is your Spanish book, one book, you have to just use plain cuál. Okay? All right, and so that's what you're missing there. Okay. Okay, so and for this one, here again you're filling in the question word. This is right. Which out of all the names is your name? You would use ¿Cuál es tu nombre? But ¿Cómo te llamas? How do you call yourself is the other way. You're doing okay here. Here. This is what we were asking in class today or yesterday. At what hour is Spanish class? So you can either say cuando, but if you have an there, you can put cuando. You can either say, and you can't have hora. You can either say cuando es la clase de español, when is Spanish class, but another way you can get at what time something is specifically that, at what time, and you would put que, a que hora. Remember, we can say que hora es getting what hour is it, what time is it specifically, but you could say a que hora tienes la clase de español a las 9 de la mañana. So you would put que here. A que hora is the same thing as, essentially the same thing as cuando. Blank está la profesora, está en su oficina. So you got to look at the answer. Yes, ¿cómo está la profesora is grammatically correct, but the answer wouldn't be she's in her office. You want ¿dónde? Where is the teacher? She's in her office. ¿Dónde? Blank son las otras profesoras, bueno, blank son las otras personas en su oficina, son unos estudiantes. ¿Cuántas is how many? But you wouldn't have son there. You would just have cuántas personas hay en su oficina if that was what you were getting at. How many people are in her office? And the answer would be, tres, dos, cuatro. You'd actually have to give a quantity. This is saying they are some students from the class. So you're just asking who? Who are the other people in her office? So you would put, and since it's multiple people, instead of just quién, you would put quiénes. Okay? Okay. And also, just so you remember, these on page, what page is this? In your text, you can refer to page 52. This tells you what the words mean. Como is how, sometimes what, but like I said, I would go ahead and think of it as how. The only time I can think of it, well, what are you like? How are you like? I mean, you could do it either way. ¿Cuál, cuándo, cuánto, dónde? See, they tell you what the meaning of each of these are. Sometimes cuánto can be confusing because the spelling of cuánto has to match the thing you want to know the quantity of. So if it's students, it's going to be cuántos. If it's manzanas, it changes to cuántas. If it's dinero, it's cuánto. And then again, quién can be made plural if you're asking for the identity of multiple people, like who are the Spanish professors at the school? There's more than one of us, you'd use quiénes. But who is your Spanish professor? You would use quién. Which, which, which what are the which months which is your favorite month of the year? ¿Cuál es tu mes favorito? That's just one. But if I say which which um, which are your favorite professors? ¿Cuáles son tus profesores favoritos? You would make it plural because I want to know more than one. So if you want to identify more than one with both cuál and quién, you have to make it plural. And then when you put a de in front of quién, you're asking of whom something belongs. So de quién es el bolígrafo is whose pen is it? And again, this is what we're going to go over partially tomorrow